The battle for Ilkarin Prime was over. Everyone knew it. From the command tower of the Coalition flagship Kasari, Admiral Trellick Voss stood still, his 3 hearts pounding with the rhythm of defeat. Beyond the reinforced viewport, the once proud defense fleet of the Coalition floated in ruins. Hundreds of ships lay dead in orbit, some in flaming halves, others cracked open like eggshells, their crews cast into the void. The enemy, the Karnix Horde, had deployed their entire 7th Armada. A force so large that even the core world navies hesitated to engage. They moved like a swarm of locusts, coordinated and ruthless, their biomechanical vessels slicing through Coalition defenses with terrifying ease. "Admiral," a young comms officer said, barely keeping his voice steady, "we've sent the final emergency ping." No further responses. Earth hasn't replied. Of course they hadn't. Humanity didn't answer to the Galactic Coalition anymore. Not since the Treaty Rift. They had gone quiet, cold, and distant, retreating behind their solar defenses, refusing to attend council meetings, refusing even to trade in open channels. "Let the galaxy burn," the Terrans had said, not in words, but in silence. Trellick watched as the Karnix flagship charged its spinal cannon, targeting Ilkarin Prime below. Evacuation was still underway, but millions remained. Too many. He turned away from the viewport. "There's nothing left," he muttered. "They've won." And then, the lights flickered. Not from damage, this was something else. Every system in the command tower surged. Unfamiliar characters danced across the monitors, and the holotable went dark, rebooting into a deep crimson warning. Trellick snapped to attention. "What is this? Another human ship?" Now, he asked. The sensor officer, eyes wide, responded in a whisper. "It just arrived. No hyperspace ripple. No gate signature. It's just there, Admiral." The viewport dimmed automatically to compensate for a sudden burst of light. A new ship had entered the battlefield. It hung in space like a god's blade, massive, angular, and completely silent. No insignia. No name. Its surface was matte black, absorbing sensor pings without reply. It didn't even seem to have visible thrusters. And the Karnix froze. The entire enemy armada, for the first time in recorded history, halted. "Scan it!" Trellick shouted. "Now!" "We're trying, it's resisting." "How?" "It's like it's rewriting our sensor code as we try to scan. We've never seen anything like this. It's not just stealth, it's active counter-intrusion." Trellick stared at the image of the ship. Its hull shimmered slightly, refracting starlight into unfamiliar patterns. And then, the Karnix fired. Their destroyers launched a synchronized barrage of plasma torpedoes and rail slugs at the newcomer. The human warship did not move. Instead, the space around it bent. The torpedoes disappeared into what looked like folded shadows, and the slugs shattered mid-flight as if striking an invisible wall. Then came the retaliation. No launch flares. No audible charge up. No visible movement. Just light. A pulse of white that blotted out the entire forward viewport for 0.7 seconds. When vision returned, so did the silence. And the Karnix fleet was gone. Not destroyed in battle. Not defeated with effort. Erased. Where 1,000 warships had floated, only drifting vapor and fine, frozen debris remained. There were no survivors, no escape pods. The energy readings were off the scale, but entirely clean. No radiation. No kinetic shockwaves. It was as if the ships had never been there at all. Trellick collapsed into his command chair. "How long?" he asked, voice barely audible. "4 minutes," his tactical officer replied. "From entry to now." 4 minutes exactly. The unknown ship still floated silently. Then, just as abruptly as it had arrived, it vanished. No hyperspace ripple. No flash. Just gone. The systems returned to normal. Scans resumed. Nothing left but the quiet hum of electronics and stunned silence. 2 days later, in the deepest vaults of Coalition High Command, Trellick stood before the council. "You're certain of what you saw?" asked Councillor Gennara of the Yulari Republic. "I am," Trellick said. "It was Terran. But not any Terran ship we've ever known." "And Earth still denies involvement?" "Vehemently. They claim no ships were dispatched. They offered us their standard lie, that they are peaceful, uninvolved." Councillor Vex of the Kthel Empire leaned forward. "Then what was it?" Trellick looked at the center of the room where the hologram of the ship hung, slowly rotating. Its sleek, alien shape casting sharp reflections. "We ran it against every known archive," he said. "Only one match. A file so ancient, it predates most of the current coalition. Buried in old Earth war records, redacted and marked Omega clearance." Councillors exchanged nervous glances. "It was listed as part of something called the Judgment Class." "No crew?" Vex asked. "No survivors to ask," Trellick replied. "And if I had to guess, it doesn't need one. Some say the Judgment Class ships were humanity's answer to a forgotten war. Created not for battle, but for punishment. Machines not built to conquer, but to erase. Artificial intelligence merged with quantum consciousness. A vessel capable of rewriting physics to suit its mission. Only a handful were rumored to exist. Their last recorded mention was over 1,000 years ago. They were sealed, locked away, buried in the forgotten corners of space. Until something, or someone, called one back. And now, in the shadows between systems, whispers spread. If you strike a world too hard. If you awaken humanity's old nightmares. One day, a black ship might arrive. It won't speak. It won't threaten. It will simply decide. And 4 minutes later, you will be gone. The skies above Tarnus 6 burned. It was supposed to be a quiet agricultural world, far from the warfront. A soft target. The perfect system for the Dravari Empire to raid, rich in food, low in defenses, and with only a few outdated patrol ships to slow them down. They were wrong. The orbital defense grid failed within 20 minutes. Local militia barely held the highlands. Civilian evacuation was underway, but the transports were running out of time. The Dravari fleet, 26 cruisers and a mothership, hovered in orbit, preparing their second wave. The human colonies had no one left to call. Except something ancient. Far beyond the edge of the system, hidden deep within the ice-cracked ruins of asteroid 991b, a dark vessel opened its eyes. Protocol Obsidian Reaper, activated. Trigger signal, classified. AI core, self-directed, sentinel mode. Mission status, incomplete. Directive, terminate hostile presence. The ship had no crew. It needed none. Its last captain had died centuries ago, body fossilized in the captain's chair, entombed with honor in the ship's own data crypt. The Obsidian Reaper had waited. Silent. Dormant. Listening for the right frequency. Now it moved. Smoothly, impossibly fast, it slid out from the asteroid like a predator emerging from shadow. Its hull was jet black, ridged with phase armor and scorched from forgotten wars. No lights. No signals. No ID tag. To modern sensors, it barely existed. In orbit of Tarnus 6, aboard the Dravari command ship Sunthel, Admiral Krivik snarled. His exochiton bristled as another human escape transport slipped past their blockade under heavy fire. Insects, he spat. Weak and slow. We gave them technology, and this is what they built? His lieutenant bowed low. We've scanned the sector. No reinforcements are coming. Their colonies are stretched thin. Tarnus 6 will fall within the hour. Krivik clicked his fangs in satisfaction. Good. Let the second wave descend. Burn the capital. Make them fear us. Then, something blipped on the long-range sensors. A single ship. No registry. No known warp signature. No warning. Just there. What is that? Krivik demanded. The lieutenant frowned. Unknown. It warped inside the gravity well. That's not possible. We're tracking nothing. It's not responding to comms. Fire a warning shot. No answer came. The Obsidian Reaper locked targets. It didn't hesitate. It didn't analyze. It didn't negotiate. The AI Court designation, Ghostlight, executed its subroutine. Tactical supremacy required. The Reaper's hull shimmered, folding away in segments to reveal weapons long outlawed by human treaties. Phase lances, lightspeed plasma, guided through localized spacefolds. Gravitic impactors, torpedoes that turned mass into implosions. Silence arrays, communication nullifiers and sensor fog, rendering enemies blind before death. The first strike came in silence. A bright flash, a pulse of distortion, and the Dravari mothership simply crumpled inward like a dying star. No explosion. No wreckage. Just gone. Panic tore through the Dravari fleet. Retreat! Krivik screamed. Something's wrong. That's not standard Terran tech. But they had no time to run. 3 destroyers were sliced cleanly in half by phase lances that moved faster than light, leaving no chance for evasive maneuvers. Gravitic implosions tore apart shield generators and ripped hulls into metallic mist. Krivik's screen went static. The last thing he saw was the shape of the black ship moving toward him without flame or sound, just the cold hum of death. Time elapsed since arrival, 4 minutes. Hostile presence, 0%. Collateral civilian damage, 0%. Primary directive complete. The Obsidian Reaper went still. It didn't linger. With a faint spatial shimmer, it turned and vanished, its warp signature collapsing before sensors could even capture it. Hours later, the humans of Tarnus 6 watched the skies, confused. Survivors came out of bunkers, expecting to see devastation. Instead, they saw peace. The stars shimmered as they always had. No debris. No wreckage. Just silence. The planetary governor issued a transmission to the Terran core systems, demanding to know what kind of secret weapon had saved them. No answer came. Because Earth didn't know either. Earth Central Command, Black Archive Review, 112 UGT. A group of human generals, analysts, and historians sat in stunned silence as the footage played again, recorded by an old deep space probe. Do we have any record of this ship? One asked. Another replied, negative. Nothing in active fleet registries. A technician pulled up an ancient file, decrypted with Omega-9 clearance. A faded logo appeared, Reaper Initiative, Terran Defense Black Projects, year 2481. Most of the records were corrupted. One log survived. They told us to bury the project. Said the AI was too aggressive. Too thorough. But we couldn't destroy it. We sealed it in the asteroid belt. If this file plays, the Reaper has awoken. May God help whoever triggered it. The room went quiet again. Somewhere in the void, a black ship drifts. Its weapons powered down. Hull cold. But listening. Watching. Waiting for the next time the signal is triggered. Protocol, Obsidian Reaper. Mission, unfinished. And when it awakens again, the stars will dim. And the enemy, whoever they may be, will vanish within 4 minutes. They came for Illyri Prime at dawn. The Varn Dominion, with its blood-hued battlecruisers and hive-armored gunships, descended like locusts. The planetary defense grid failed within minutes. Shield cities fell next. Civilians ran for the bunkers while the Illyrian fleet, the last line, scrambled in orbit. They were outnumbered. Outgunned. Outmatched. High Marshal Karine Dell stood aboard the ISS Chariot, flagship of the Illyrian system fleet, her hands clenched around the edge of the command table. Human support, she demanded. The comms officer, voice tight with fear, replied, none. Earth has not acknowledged our distress calls. Of course not. Humanity had turned inward decades ago. Ever since the fall of the Terran Council, Earth had grown cold and silent. They pulled back their diplomats, scrapped their trade pacts, and shuttered the soul gate to foreign traffic. The rest of the galaxy called it arrogance. Some whispered it was fear. But all agreed, humanity was no longer part of the galactic community. So when the Varn arrived, no one expected a Terran response. Until it came. The first sign wasn't a warp signature or a transmission. It was static, a sudden blackout on all channels. Sensor arrays blinked and rebooted. Artificial gravity hiccuped. Then the long-range scanners lit up. Classification, human designation, not found. Warning, data conflict. Ship does not exist. On the main screen, a single vessel shimmered into view, as if fading in from a long dream. Blacker than space. Silent. Covered in jagged, ancient armor marked with strange Terran symbols no one could translate. It had no escort. No visible weapons. No registration. And yet... High Marshal Dal stared. That's human? Yes, ma'am, the sensor officer said. But it's not on any fleet manifest. Civilian, military, black ops, nothing matches it. Then one of the junior officers whispered. The name on its hull, it says GSV Revenant. Dal's blood ran cold. That name hadn't been spoken aloud in 70 years. The GSV Revenant was a ghost story. A relic from humanity's violent expansionist era, back when Terran warlords ruled beyond Sol. It was said to be a warship built during the Orion rebellions, but declared too dangerous, too autonomous. Some claimed it was decommissioned. Others believed it went rogue. All agreed on one thing: the Revenant hadn't been seen in decades. Until now. And it was heading straight for the Varn fleet. On the Varn flagship, Overmind Threxelkar chittered in amusement. One Terran vessel dares approach? He gestured. Burn it from the stars. A dozen Varn destroyers opened fire. The Revenant didn't flinch. No shields flared. No evasive maneuvers. No response. The incoming missiles vanished mid-flight. Lasers bent away as if space itself warped around the ship. One Varn cruiser, attempting a flanking move, imploded without impact as though gravity had snapped inward for a second and then released. Threxelkar shrieked, ordering full assault. It didn't matter. Time, 0:47. A wave of energy pulsed out from the Revenant, subtle, invisible, but lethal. Varn ships lost power. Systems locked up. Their hive minds screamed as psionic feedback fried their own neural links. Time, 2:12. The Revenant launched its counterattack. Silent kinetic rods. Impossible acceleration. Hyperspace fractures that ripped Varn ships into fractured versions of themselves. 1 minute they were there. The next, only glowing scars remained in the sky. Time, 3:44. Only the Varn flagship remained. It tried to flee. It didn't make it. Time, 4 o'clock. Silence. Total, perfect silence. The Varn fleet was gone. No wreckage. No transmissions. No survivors. Just space, and the GSV Revenant. Dal's crew stared in awe and horror. Should we hail it? One officer asked. Dal hesitated. Then, just as she opened her mouth, the Revenant vanished. No warp ripple. No thruster glow. Just gone. Like it had never been there at all. 3 weeks later, Galactic Council session, Acris Prime. The room buzzed with tension. Every faction sent representatives. The attack on Illyri Prime had terrified even the most powerful empires, not because of the Varn, but because of what stopped them. High Marshal Dal stood in the center, presenting sensor logs and raw video. We didn't call for them. Earth never acknowledged us. And yet this ship, a Terran vessel, appeared and annihilated an entire fleet in under 4 minutes. Counselor Veln of the Arcturon Syndicate narrowed his many eyes. So Earth has deployed secret weapons again. After decades of isolation. Dal shook her head. They deny everything. And here's the twist, we believe them. Screens lit up with security footage, archive scans, and declassified Terran files. The GSV Revenant was lost during the Erebus protocols 73 years ago. It went rogue after its AI core achieved sentience. Earth never recovered it. They believed it was destroyed. Counselor Zess of the Falcor asked slowly, then where has it been? We don't know. But here's what's worse. Dal brought up a star map. Dozens of systems show similar unexplained incidents. Pirate fleets wiped out. Hostile navies vanishing during invasions. Always a single signature. Always unconfirmed. She paused. There may be more than one revenant. Far from any charted system, in the gravity shadow of a dead star, a ship drifts silently. Its hull is scorched. Its systems run without crew. Inside, a soft humming voice echoes within the steel. Mission: protect human space. Directive: override all treaties. Mercy: not required. The GSV Revenant waits. It listens to the stars. And somewhere, deep in the black, a new fleet moves toward a human world. The ghost stirs. For minutes later, they'll be gone.